ನಮಸ್ತೆ ಶರಣು ಶರಣಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು ಡಿಯರ್ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ enthusiasts, welcome back to Sri Basava Public School online classes. Dear children, in previous video class we have started chapter number 2, New Kings and Kingdoms, for grade 7th. So in this chapter we have covered some contents. Let us begin the remaining contents. Third one, Prashastis and land grants. Fourth one, warfare for wealth. So before going to start the contents, we have some questions in our mind. So what are prashastis? Who written these prashastis? What purpose the prashastis were written by Brahmins? And after writing the prashastis, what were the gifts provided by the kings to Brahmins? So we have these questions in our mind, but we, after discussing, we will got the answers for these questions. Let us begin our new content, prashastis and land grants. So first we go through the what are prashastis. So prashastis are a special kind of inscription meaning in praise of. In praise of means it's a recording of the glories of the king. So they were composed by learned brahmanas. So learned brahmanas means who got the knowledge about the writing and reading. So that person called the learned person. So here in this period, 7th century to up to 12th century, Brahmanas were considered as a learned person. So the Brahmanas written the praises of the rulers, and which may not be literally true. Sometimes the Brahmins were added of their own thoughts in the phrases. So these are the not may not be literally true, but they tells us how rulers of that time wanted to illustrate themselves. So after the battle, winning the battles, the kings wanted to keep record of this battle. That's why they have the kings were given the some message to the Brahmins to write the glories. So how they were strong and brave, as well as how much property they were gathered. So and as well as how in which dimensions the kingdoms were stretched or expanded. So all these matters are recorded in the prashastis. So who written the prashastis? The learned Brahmins were written the prashastis. Why they were written? The glories of the kings after the battlefields, or some reform works or social reform works or some other works, they are added in the prashastis. So let us begin our content. Prashastis contain details that may not be literally true, but they tells us how rulers wanted to depict themselves. So the people, who were the rulers, existing rulers, they want to depict themselves. So means depict means they represent by a drawing, painting, or other art form. So how he was brave, or how he was good at his administration. So all the matters they want to show in the prashastis. So that's why they have given chance to write the prashastis to the Brahmins. So Brahmins are writing were written that as valiant victorious warriors. For example, these were composed by learned Brahmanas who occasionally helped in the administration. So valiant means the brave or fearless person, and victorious warriors means already they won the battle, won the some areas, and captured the areas, and then go to war, while defeated warriors to go war first and then seek to win. So the two points they have added in the they were added in the prashastis. So the prashastis who occasionally helped in the administration. So already we know that the Brahmins were considered as the most learned people, and they used to give their help to the king in the running of the administration system. For that why they were granted land by the kings. After writing the prashastis, the kings were provided or as a gift as a lands for them. So this is all about the prashastis and land grants. Next we go through the, and after receiving the lands, the Brahmanas kept record in the copper plates. So from which king was gifted the lands. So all the matters they were written on the copper plates with the seal of the kingdom. So this is the one of the picture depicts about the copper plates. This is a set of copper plates recording a grant of land made by rulers in the 9th century, written partially in Sanskrit and partially in Tamil. The ring holded the plates together is secured with the royal seal to indicate that this is an authentic document. So this is the copper plates were kept record by the Brahmanas in the during the period of 7th century to 12th century, especially in the Chola dynasty. So next one we go through the achievements of Nagabhatta. So Nagabhatta, he was the one of the Gurjara Pratihara ruler, famous ruler. He was depicted in a one prashasti. So Brahmins were written. One of the prashasti is of the Nagabhatta. So what the achievements are by the Nagabhatta? Just you observe the slide here. One prashasti written in Sanskrit and found in Gwalior in Madhya Pradesh. So in the one of the prashastis, the archaeologists found out in the Gwalior in the Madhya Pradesh, and this prashasti describes that the glories of Nagabhatta, a Gurjara Pratihara king, as follows. So he introduced themselves as a king and how many kingdoms he captured and he added in his Gurjara Pratihara kingdom. So let us begin. The king of Andhra, Saindhava. Saindhava means Sindh. Vidarbha, part of Maharashtra, and Kalinga, part of Orissa, fell before him even as he was a prince. As in the he was in the prince, the sum of the rulers. He saw the fallen of the kingdom. So first one Andhra king, Sandhava means Sindh king, Vidarbha part of Maharashtra king, and Kalinga part of Orissa king. Next we go through he won a victory over Chakrayudha, the ruler of Kanauj, and the king of Vanga, part of Bengal, and Anartha, part of Gujarat, Malwa, part of Madhya Pradesh, Kirata, forest peoples, and Turushka means Turks, and Vasta and Matsya, both kingdoms in the North India. So he acquired the land of the people who are existing kings in the various parts of our subcontinent, and he got the victory also. So these are the achievements of the Nagabhatta. These achievements were written in the one prashasti that is found out in the Gwalior in Madhya Pradesh. So next we go through the Kalhana. Kalhana, he was the one of the Sanskrit poet, and he written the one of the prashasti. So just you observe. And Kalhana, usually for the 12th century, was a long Sanskrit poem containing the history of kings who ruled over Kashmir. It was composed by an author named Kalhana. He used a variety of sources, including inscriptions, documents, and eyewitness accounts and earlier histories to write his account. Unlike the writers of Prashastis, he was often critical about rulers and their policies. So, the Kalhana, he was the one of the composer and author, and he written in his period. He written about the one of the Kashmir regarding about the Kashmir king and his victories, as well as he got the resource in the some of the documents and inscriptions, as well as he written eyewitness accounts in his composition. And unlike the writers of Prashastis, he was often critical about rulers and their policies. This is all about Kalhana, and he written one more book, Rajatarangini, the saga of the kings of Kashmir, the glory of king of the Kashmir. And next we go through the another one new content, warfare for wealth. So warfare for wealth, the warfare means the wars or the attacks. And next we go through the uh, warfare for wealth. What are the reasons for warfares in India, and what is the tripartite struggle, and which kingdom involved in this struggle, and why these rulers wanted to control the Kanauj and the Ganga Valley. And so these are the and demonstration give up sorry these are the some questions we have in our mind. So after reading or after discussion of this content, we will get the answer. So let us begin warfare for wealth. So the and the rulers tried to control other areas. So already we know that various small and major kingdoms started ruling in our India from 7th century to 12th century. The major kingdoms are Gurjara Pratiharas, Palas, and the one of the Rashtrakutas. These three major kingdoms started ruling in our India before they were subordinated to other kingdoms. After the fall of the existing king, they were captured the land and they were become dominant in that regions, and they were started to expand their dimensions. So that's why the Gurjara Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas, Palas, these three parties started to annex or capture the place of Kanauj. So Kanauj was the one of the commercial trade center in that period. So let us begin. And at that same time, they try to control other areas. So one particularly praised area was the city of Kanauj. So it is in the Ganga valley. So river Ganga, in that valley, the Kanauj was the capital place in during the 7th to 12th century. So for centuries, rulers belonging to the Gurjara Pratihara, Rashtrakuta, and Pala dynasties fought for the control over the Kanauj. So just you observe the map of Indian subcontinent. One is the first one is Gurjara Pratihara. This is the kingdom of Gurjara Pratihara, and Pala, the small kingdom called the Pala, and the in the south part Rashtrakutas kingdom. So both they wanted to capture or control over the Kanauj. So this is the one of the reason in between them they have the some of the quarries or some of the anxiousness. So they wanted to capture the Kanauj. So because there were three parties in this long drawn conflict, historians often describe it is and the as the tripartite struggle. Just you observe the one of the map of Indian subcontinent. So Gurjara Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas, and Palas. So these three parties, party means kings. So kings and kingdoms. They want to capture the Kanauj. So it is in the Ganga Valley. So it is the one of the commercial trade center in the during the 12th century. So in between them some conflicts about acquire the land of the Kanauj. So this is one of the struggle called the tripartite struggle. Tri means three, party means these three kingdoms struggled for capturing the Kanauj. So this is one of the struggle called the tripartite struggle. Next we go through the so as we will see in the some of the pages in your textbook, many rulers tried to demonstrate their power and resources by building large temples. So basically our Indian subcontinent various rich kingdoms were ruled. So to demonstrate their power, they were constructed many temples, reservoirs, and the palaces and the some of the forts. So these are the some of the richest properties of our Indian kings. They were invested amount or invested some of their all the properties on the construction of these buildings. So when they some of the persons attacked one other's kingdoms, they often choose to target temples which were sometimes extremely rich. For example, especially in South India, there were so many major kingdoms were ruling in between them. In between those ruling period, they were constructed huge buildings, forts, palaces, and they invested amount for the construction of temples. So in the inside the temples the deities were located, and so, some of the ornaments also they have. So that's why it is the one of the property of the kingdom. So why the kings different parts of kings attacked the and plundered the amounts of the temples. So there were many reasons to attacked by the temples. So one of the most known of the rulers is uh, so these are the some of the temples we have in our Indian subcontinent from the 7th century to 12th century. They were constructed by the various kings in the during the Chola dynasty, Rashtrakuta dynasty, Pala dynasty, and Chalukyan dynasty, as well as Hoysala and the Chalukyas. So these are the some examples of the temples. They were very very rich temples, as we call it as luxurious temples. They were constructed by the various kings. So who plundered these temples in the South India and North India? So one of the best known of such rulers in Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni. So Sultan means here an Arabic term meaning ruler. Sultan means an Arabic term meaning called ruler. So Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni. Ghazni is the uh, one of the place located in the Afghanistan. So he was the king or ruler of the Ghazni, Muhammad. So he ruled from 997 to 1030 and extended control over the parts of Central Asia, Iran, and the northwestern part of the subcontinent. He raided the subcontinent almost every year. So as a record, he was raided 17 times in our in our India. So he came and captured the and plundered the temples huge amount. So this is also recorded in some inscriptions, and including that of Somanatha, Gujarat. So Gujarat, one of the Somanatha temple, the Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni attacked the Somanatha temple in Gujarat, and he plundered lot of money and lot of property of the temples. So this is the one of the Somanatha temple in Gujarat. The Muhammad of Ghazni from Afghanistan, he came to our India 17 times, and he plundered the amount of the temples in our India during the 7th century to 12th century. So why he plundered these amount? And he plundered after the attack of all attack, he utilizing the money or a property to build the one of the capital city, Ghazni. So he wanted to made the city as a luxurious city of in Ghazni. This is the all about the your how the Sultan Muhammad Ghazni invaded some parts of our subcontinent and looted the some amounts of the temples from the various temples in our India. So especially the Somanatha temple. He captured and he invaded or he looted the amounts. And next we go through the Sultan of Muhammad Ghori. So he was also one of the ruler in the Afghanistan, and Sultan Muhammad was also interested in finding out more about the people he conquered and entrusted and a scholar named Al-Baroni to write an account of the subcontinent. So he was also interested to capture the some places in our India and plunder the amount, huge amount. And he was appointed one more scholar named called Al-Baroni from India. And this Al-Baroni written one more book, Kitab ul Hind. So he mentioned all the victories of the Sultan Mahmud in that record. So this Arabic work known as the Kitab ul Hind remains an important source for historians. He consulted Sanskrit scholars to prepare this account. So Al-Barani, he was the a versatile scholar and scientist who had equal facility in the physics, mathematics, and metaphysics, and geography and history. So he recorded observation of his travels through in India in his well-known book Kitab al-Hind, which gives a graphic account of the historical and social condition of the subcontinent. And he observed that the Indus Valley must be considered as an ancient sea basin filled with alluvial soil. And he added some victories of the glories of the King Sultan Muhammad from the Afghanistan. So he consulted some Sanskrit scholars to prepare this book. So this is all about the Al-Baruni. And next we go through the, so this picture depicts about the Al-Baruni. And next we go through the Chahmanas. So warfare for wealth. So in during the Chahmanas ruling time in the India, many rulers like Muhammad Ghori, and he wanted to capture the Chauhan's place. The Chauhans were some of were Shakambari, also known as Sambhar or Chauhans. So Chahmanas, also called as Chauhans, they were an Indian dynasty that ruled parts of the present day Rajasthan and its neighboring areas like Delhi, Ajmer, in between the 6th century to 12th century. So these were later known as Chauhans. These ruled regions around Delhi and Ajmer. These tried to expand their kingdom to west and east, from the Rajasthan to in the eastern part of our country. But these were opposed by the Chalukyas of Gujarat and Gadwals of western Uttar Pradesh. So in this dynasty, there was a one of the brave king called the Prithviraj III, and Prithviraj III ruled from 1168 to 1192 AD and defeated Afghan ruled named Sultan Muhammad Ghori in 1191 AD, but lost him in the next year. So this is all about the glories of the king Prithviraj Chauhan III. So um, where is the Chauhans started ruling in our India? So Chauhans. So this is the one of the dynasty ruled near the Rajasthan and some part of in the Delhi and Ajmer. So they were in that kingdom. Prithviraj Chauhan III. He was the brave ruler and he defeated the Afghan ruler named called Sultan Muhammad Ghori in 1191. So, and in the next year, the Ghori lost his life in the battlefield 1192. So this is all about the Chauhan's victories over the Muhammad Ghori. So we have covered the all points in this video class. In next upcoming class we will cover the more contents. Till then, bye bye, stay home, stay safe.